The history of what we now call the Philippines started when the first humans arrived around 60,000 years ago. They likely used rafts or boats to settle in the archipelago. Over time, these groups grew into larger settlements, evolving into what some scholars consider early states. Around 4000 BC, Austronesians and later speakers of Malayo-Polynesian languages began arriving in waves. By 1000 BC, the inhabitants had developed into 4 distinct groups: tribal groups, warrior societies, petty plutocracy, and harbor civilizations. The archipelago saw the influence of a jade culture during the Neolithic era, and metallurgy reached the islands through trade with India. Between 300 to 700 AD, seafaring peoples of the islands began trading with Indianized kingdoms in the Malay archipelago and East Asia, adopting influences from Buddhism and Hinduism. This period also saw extensive trade networks, exchanging artifacts and goods such as glass, agate, and gold. Indian culture began influencing the region around the 1st century AD, spreading to Southeast Asia during the South Indian Pallava dynasty and the North Indian Gupta Empire. The influence reached the Philippines, leading to the establishment of new kingdoms, largely influenced by Indian culture. The earliest known Philippine document, the Laguna copperplate inscription dating to 900 AD, shows evidence of the use of mathematics and a standard system of weights and measures. The society around Manila Bay at the time was a blend of Hindu and Old Malay cultures. Leading up to 1000 AD, several maritime societies existed, but there was no unified political state covering the entire archipelago. Instead, the region was divided into numerous semi-autonomous city-states. These smaller structures were influenced by larger Asian empires such as Majapahit, the Ming dynasty of China, and Brunei. Around 1225, the nation of Mai, a Buddhist pre-Hispanic Philippine island state centered in Mindoro, flourished, attracting traders and shipping from the kingdom of Ryukyu to the Empire of Japan. The start of the Islamic era in Indonesia led to the collapse of the Hindu Majapahit Empire and the rise of independent sultanates. In 1380, Islam was brought to the Philippines by Arab traders, leading to the establishment of the Sultanate of Sulu and the Sultanate of Guadalcanal. The religion spread through missionary work and trade from the Middle East, India, and Malay regions. In 1521, Spanish explorer Ferdinand Magellan reached the archipelago, claiming the islands for the Spanish Empire. Over the next decades, Spain dispatched expeditions to explore and establish settlements. Miguel López de Legazpi arrived in 1565, forming the first European settlements in Cebu and later establishing Manila as the capital of the Spanish East Indies. The Castilian War erupted in 1578 between the Christian Spaniards and Muslim Bruneians over control of the archipelago. The conflict ended with a status quo ante bellum, maintaining the previous state. Spanish colonization saw the introduction of Christianity, the establishment of the oldest modern university in Asia, and the imposition of Spanish law. Many local revolts occurred against Spanish rule in the following centuries. After the Spanish-American War in 1898, the Philippines became a territory of the United States. The U.S. established the insular government and promised independence, leading to the establishment of the Philippine Commonwealth in 1935. However, during World War II, the Philippines was occupied by Japanese forces until its liberation by the United States in 1945. The Treaty of Manila in 1946 established an independent Philippine Republic. The period of independence was marked by internal conflicts, a short period of dictatorship, but also significant progress and development. Ferdinand Marcos came to power in 1965, ruling until 1986, marked by dictatorship and instability. In 1986, Marcos was ousted and Maria Corazon Aquino Bino became president. Since then, 5 other presidents have ruled the Philippines.